The smell of grilled steak filled the small family restaurant. Plates clattered, laughter echoed, and waiters rushed from table to table. It was just another busy night. But at one corner table, a single dad sat with his little daughter, enjoying what felt like a rare blessing. He didn't often get to bring her out for dinner. Money was tight, life was hard, but tonight was different. Tonight was supposed to be special. Just as he lifted his fork to take another bite, a voice, quiet, trembling, almost breaking, cut through the noise. "Excuse me, sir, may we have your leftovers?" The words froze him. Slowly, he turned. Standing there were 5 children. Thin, clothes ragged, faces pale. Their eyes wide, pleading, filled with shame and hunger, pierced straight into his soul. And in that moment, he realized this night would not end the way he expected. Part 1, A Father's Quiet Struggle. Daniel Miller was 34 years old, a man with calloused hands and tired eyes. His life had once been full of dreams, marrying his college sweetheart, Anna, building a family, raising their daughter Emma in a home filled with love. But 3 years ago, Anna's sudden illness tore his world apart. In just a few weeks, she was gone. Daniel was left with grief so heavy he thought it might crush him. He became both father and mother to little Emma, who was only 4 at the time. His construction job kept them afloat, but barely. Bills stacked up, groceries often stretched thin. Daniel skipped meals just so Emma wouldn't feel the hunger gnawing at her belly. He never complained, he just worked, fought, and prayed that tomorrow would somehow be better. Despite it all, Emma never lacked love. Daniel told her bedtime stories every night, braided her hair before school, and whispered, "Mommy would be proud of you," whenever her smile reminded him of Anna. That night in the restaurant was supposed to be a treat, a way to remind Emma that life still held moments of joy. He never expected to meet the 5 children who would change everything. Part 2, The Children with Empty Stomachs. They stood close together, almost clinging to one another. The oldest boy looked about 12, his thin frame stretched in clothes too small. Next to him was a girl, maybe 10, with tangled hair and watchful eyes. Beside her, a boy of 8, his shirt torn at the sleeve. Then a girl of 6, clutching the hand of the youngest, a boy no more than 4. Their faces carried the same story: hunger, exhaustion, and the desperate courage of children forced to survive in a world too cruel for them. The oldest boy repeated himself softly, We just wondered if we could have your leftovers. We don't need much. Just what you don't finish." Daniel's chest tightened. He thought about the nights he had gone hungry, the times Emma asked for a snack he didn't have, the shame of not being able to provide. He saw himself in those children. That night, Daniel's small apartment became a shelter for 6 children instead of 1. Blankets were spread on the living room floor. Emma happily handed out her stuffed animals so each child could hold something soft. And for the first time in weeks, maybe months, those 5 children fell asleep warm and safe. Part 6, The Weight of Kindness. The days that followed were filled with both joy and struggle. Feeding 6 children pushed Daniel's budget to the edge. He skipped more meals than ever, worked double shifts at construction, and came home so exhausted he could barely stand. His bills piled higher, and doubts whispered in his mind, "What if I can't do this? What if I fail them?" There were hard moments. The kids argued over toys, the younger ones cried in the night, and Emma sometimes felt overwhelmed by suddenly sharing her home. But Daniel sat with her, holding her close. "Sweetheart," he told her gently, "remember how Mommy always said we should help others? These kids need us. And I think we need them too." Emma nodded slowly, her little arms wrapping around his neck. She was stronger than he realized. Part 7, The Children's Past. Over time, the children shared their story. Their parents had abandoned them, leaving them to fend for themselves. Afraid of being separated by foster care, they stuck together, hiding wherever they could, scavenging food, and sometimes going days without eating. Daniel listened with tears streaming down his face. He couldn't change their past, but he could fight for their future. Part 8, Community Steps In. Word spread about Daniel's unexpected family. Neighbors dropped off clothes and groceries. A local church organized donations. Even his boss noticed his determination and offered extra shifts with better pay. What began as one man's act of kindness grew into a community effort. Part 9, A New Beginning. Months later, after endless paperwork, court hearings, and sleepless nights, Daniel became the children's legal guardian. They had a permanent home. They had a dad. One evening, as they sat around the dinner table, Caleb, the oldest, spoke with tears in his eyes. "You didn't have to take us in. But you did. You saved us." Daniel shook his head, voice breaking. "No, Caleb. I didn't save you. You saved me. You gave me back hope, and a family." Part 10, Years down the road. Years passed. The children grew, went to school, chased dreams they once thought impossible. Emma gained not just siblings, but lifelong best friends. Daniel often thought back to that night, the trembling voice asking for leftovers, and realized it was the night his broken life found healing. A request for scraps had led to a feast of love, and strangers had become family. Closing message. Life is unpredictable. Sometimes the people who need us most appear when we least expect it. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness, a shared meal, a warm blanket, an open door, can change the course of many lives. Emma looked from the kids to her dad, confusion clouding her innocent eyes. "Daddy, why are they asking for food?" Daniel swallowed hard, forcing down the lump in his throat. He knew he had a choice. He could give them scraps, or he could give them something far greater. Part 3, More Than Leftovers. He waved over the waitress, his voice firm but kind. "Bring 5 more plates. Anything they want from the menu. And don't forget dessert." The waitress blinked, surprised. The children's eyes widened in disbelief. The oldest boy shook his head quickly. "No, sir. Please, we don't want you to spend money on us. Just the scraps will do." Daniel leaned forward, lowering his voice. "Listen to me. No child should ever have to beg for scraps. Tonight, you're going to eat like family. Okay?" The youngest girl tugged on her brother's sleeve, whispering, "Please, let's stay." Finally, the boy nodded, fighting back tears. Emma scooted over in her booth seat and patted the space beside her. "You can sit here," she said softly. And just like that, a table meant for 2 grew into a table for 7. Part 4, The Feast of Love. When the food came, steaming hot, the children stared at the plates as though afraid it was a dream. The moment the oldest gave a nod, they dug in as slowly at first, then hungrily, as though they hadn't eaten properly in weeks. Daniel watched in silence, heart aching and swelling all at once. Emma handed the youngest her extra French fries, giggling as he devoured them. For the first time that night, the children laughed. When ice cream sundaes arrived, the youngest boy clapped his hands, spilling sprinkles everywhere. The joy on their faces was priceless. The oldest boy finally looked at Daniel, his voice barely above a whisper. "Thank you, sir. Nobody's ever done something like this for us." Daniel reached across the table, resting a hand on the boy's. "You don't have to thank me. Tonight, you're family." But in the back of his mind, questions gnawed at him. Where will they go after this? Who is caring for them? What happens tomorrow? Part 5, The Truth They Carried. After dinner, as they walked outside into the cool night air, Daniel asked gently, "Do you have somewhere to go? Somewhere safe?" The kids exchanged nervous glances. Finally, the oldest answered. We've been sleeping in a storage shed behind the gas station. It's cold, but at least it's dry." Daniel felt his heart shatter. His mind raced, what if it rains? What if someone hurts them? What if they starve tomorrow? He looked at Emma, then back at the children. He had so little to give. But he knew one thing, he couldn't let them disappear back into the shadows. He took a deep breath. "Come with us. I don't have much, but I have a roof, and you won't be cold tonight." The oldest boy hesitated, pride warring with desperation. But when the youngest whispered, "Please, I'm so tired," he nodded.